We now have a strong response from Prime Minister Narendra Modi regarding the whopping 50% tariffs that have been imposed on India in totality. Prime Minister Modi has said the interests of farmers are a top national priority. In fact, Mr. Modi added that India will never compromise on the interests of farmers or compromise on livestock holders and fishermen. Our Prime Minister's latest statement says, "I know I'll have to pay the price for it personally, but I'm ready to do it for the farmers." This is the latest coming in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's stern message for the United States as they have slapped 50% tariffs on India, among the highest in the world along with Brazil. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he is ready to pay a personal price. In fact, he says the interests of farmers are a top national priority, and he has categorically made it clear that India will never compromise on the interests of farmers, livestock holders and fishermen. Well, to quote the Prime Minister from his latest statement, he has said, "I know I'll have to pay the price for it personally, but I'm ready to do it for the farmers." Do note that as the tariff clock starts ticking, we are tracking every rupee, every barrel and every political message behind these dollars, because this story isn't just about the economics, it's about power, it's about pressure, and also about the changing priorities in this world. Prime Minister Modi has clearly said India will never compromise on the interests of farmers, fishermen and livestock holders, asserting that interests of farmers are a top national priority. In fact, the Prime Minister's stern message clearly adds that, and I quote, "I know I'll have to pay the price for it personally, but I'm ready to do it for the farmers." The Prime Minister has clearly said he will not compromise on farmer interests, and farmers remain their top priority. These remarks and the backdrop of the tariff tiff that is currently unfolding as cracks begin to appear between India and US ties. The Prime Minister was speaking at an event. In fact, let's just quickly go across to Vishal Vivek, who breaks down the Prime Minister's latest response for us. Vishal, take us through the latest.
The Prime Minister is clearly backing the farmers in India, which are likely to be impacted by the tariffs that have just gone into effect just moments ago. The long threatened tariffs of Trump that was first talked about on April 2nd have now actually gone into effect. Most of the countries on the planet are now affected by these tariffs, these high tariffs, which range from 5% to as much as 55 to 60%. India itself now has 50% tariffs, of which 25% has gone into effect, and the rest 25%, which was threatened last evening, that will go into effect 20 days from now. So that will have to be seen, but the effect will not only be felt in India and the rest of the world. Effect will also be felt back home in the US, because a lot of customers, a survey actually done by one of the media organizations in the US suggested that most of the customers, most of the consumers in the US are actually quite worried about what the impact of these tariffs would be, and they're bracing for impact. A lot of prices have already risen. Many multinational companies such as Adidas, Nike, Barbie maker Mattel, these all companies have gone on to say that they will be raising their prices. So that effect will be seen, and many imports are done into the US so that manufacturing of cars could be done. Those imports will now be affected because they come in from various countries such as Vietnam, Mexico, Canada, which are all facing high tariffs. So car manufacturing will also be affected, and car prices are expected to jump. So these are some of the effects that will be seen back home in the US.
Vishal, as always, thanks so much for joining us with the latest. My colleague Shiv Arur also joins us with the latest updates over the phone line at the moment. Shiv, Prime Minister Modi's strong response to Trump's tariff bomb. He's asserting that India will never compromise on the interests of farmers.
This is perhaps the biggest message, both politically and economically speaking, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made. This is a muscle flex that was not expected, but it puts into context everything that's on the government's mind right now. You have a very volatile U.S. president who is using defamation, abuse, hypocrisy to disrespect India and try to goad it into an unfair trade deal. India has responded twice by pointing out American hypocrisy when it comes to the purchase of Russian oil. And what Prime Minister Modi does now, and remember, Prime Minister Modi is someone who has always made an opportunity out of a crisis. And these are the first signs of just what a master he is at that. In Parliament, he says the rights of farmers, the identity of farmers, and the lives of farmers will always be protected. It is an incredible national message to the people of India, but much bigger than that is a message to Trump and to the United States at a time when access to the Indian markets, especially the agriculture and farm markets, is being sought by American companies. And here is Prime Minister Modi making an incredible political opportunity out of this India-America crisis by saying the rights of farmers will be protected at all costs. It's a signal to Trump saying, you can flex all you want, you can goad us all you want. And Prime Minister very importantly saying he's ready to pay a personal price. That is no small thing to say for a Prime Minister. Remember that Modi and Trump have always shared a very close personal bonhomie. But here you've got Modi saying, I am ready to pay a personal price on behalf of farmers, if it means resisting Trump's demands of India at this time as far as the trade deal is concerned. So this is also a sign, Parmeshwar, that relations between the two countries in the backdrop of this tariff tyranny is in steady deterioration. With no real end in sight. This can be seen as an escalation as well. This is also a clear articulation from the Indian side that we are not stepping back even for a moment. None of the demands being made by Trump are going to be conceded at this point of time. And this is Modi signaling that basically game on, and the ball is back in Trump's court now.
As always, Shiv, thank you so much for breaking down the latest developments for us. Let's also go across to my colleague Prashant, who's live at the moment. Prashant, as Trump signals secondary actions after hitting India with 50% tariffs, now Prime Minister Modi says he's in fact ready to pay the price personally?
That's right. It's an open secret now that, while the trade talks between India and US are still on, United States of America wants India to open its agriculture and dairy sector for American companies. And this is where the talks stuck also, because India is not ready to budge on these issues. And now Prime Minister has made it very clear that the farmers are his government's topmost priority, and that he will not going to compromise on this. So it's a signal to the United States also, and the trade talks which is going to resume after some time now in this month only. So it's a signal to the United States that these are the two sectors, agriculture and dairy sector, that India is not ready to compromise on, and they are sticking to its stand.
Right. Meanwhile, Prashant, is there any indication that India is likely to change its Russian oil policy under US pressure?
Well, so far India has made it very clear. You must have seen the statement from Ministry of External Affairs. In fact, it is throwing the ball in the European Union and other countries' court by saying that even European Union and other countries are buying Russian energy, like Russian gas, for its needs. So India has made it very clear that it is they are purchasing Russian oil out of to safeguard the interest of 1.4 billion people in India. So so far India has not shown any sign that they are going to stop purchasing Russian oil. The irony is that the Russian oil is not sanctioned. The only cap is the price cap, which has been imposed on the purchase of Russian oil. So India is doing everything legally. So there is no point, there is no question of India stopping the purchase of Russian oil. And so they have not shown any signs so far as of now.
Prashant, as always, thank you so much for joining us with the latest lowdown. In fact, we've lined up a crucial reaction from Prime Minister Modi for you regarding farmers. Listen in.
साथियों, हमारे लिए अपने किसानों का हित सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता है। भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ कभी भी समझौता नहीं करेगा। और मैं जानता हूं व्यक्तिगत रूप से मुझे बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए तैयार हूं। मेरे देश के किसानों के लिए, मेरे देश के मछुआरों के लिए, मेरे देश के पशुपालकों के लिए आज भारत तैयार है। किसानों की आय बढ़ाना, खेती पर खर्च कम करना, आय के नए स्रोत बनाना, इन लक्ष्यों पर हम लगातार काम कर रहे हैं।
My colleague Maria Shakil joins us over the phone line at the moment with a quick update. Maria, any domestic political reactions yet to Prime Minister Modi's "I'll pay the price" remark?
Look, the Prime Minister has set the red line here. And it's a strong statement, and it could not have been spoken on a better platform. He has chosen the day, he has chosen the time to send this message that in a labor-intensive agriculture sector such as ours, he has given an indication what really is the sticking point in this ongoing trade talk between India and the United States. The fact is that this has been a sticking point. And India will not be bogged down, will not kowtow to the threat that is coming in from the United States, is the message that is coming in from the Prime Minister. And then he has gone on to say that he is ready to pay that personal price if the need be, in order to protect the interests of the farmers, the fisheries sector, because these are important sectors. New Delhi so far, let's be clear, Sharma, has shielded this sector because this is almost like 40% of the workforce is engaged in the farming activities, and it's a very, very, crucial because India is, of course, the world's most populous nation as well. So having said that, I think the message that is coming in from the Prime Minister this morning is that the trade talks and the constant threat that is coming in from America on one hand, but when it is about the interests of the farmers, India puts it really top on its agenda. And if the U.S. actually imposes those high tariffs on Indian agricultural exports, which is like the rice, the spices, the fruits and the tea, it will also become more expensive for the American buyers. I mean, that's also the other side of it. And the lower the prices for the Indian farmers due to surplus in the domestic market, I mean, the larger concerns of Indian farmers will be addressed. And that's the message that is coming in. India so far has maintained that despite the global supply chains, volatility and how the global supply chains have been working in an unpredictable manner, India has protected its farmers. And now again, the reiteration that is coming in from the Prime Minister is that if the U.S. targets sectors like the Indian agriculture, like the chemicals or the machinery, the cost of imported fertilizers, pesticides and farm equipment can go up. And this will eat into the benefits of the marginal, the small and the marginal farmers. And the Prime Minister is saying clearly and categorically that he will ensure that the interest, that they will not bear the brunt, and that he will try and negotiate in best possible way. And even if it comes at a personal cost, I think that personal cost will open a room for a lot of speculation. But certainly it sends a strong message of a strong leadership and a strong political will, which is coming right from the top.
Maria, thanks so much for joining us with that update. Do stay on with us. We have national spokesperson of the BJP, Tom Varakan, over the phone line currently. Mr. Varakan, thank you so much for your time. As Trump signaled secondary sanctions after hitting India with that 50% tariff, Prime Minister Modi has said he is ready to pay the price personally. He's also prioritized farmers' needs. Your first reaction?
Well, the farmers' needs have always been the priority of our Prime Minister Modi ji, and especially he's also mentioned the fisheries and other sensitive sectors connected with agriculture. So there's going to be no compromise, as he said very clearly, on these sectors. India first, and our farmers are a top priority. Opposition has built up a narrative saying that about the economy and what else. But here is the reality. Who is the friend of the farmer? who is protecting the farmer? These are realities that the opposition must realize. And our Prime Minister rightfully puts India first. And he is also sad that he may have to pay a high price. But the high price is not important, as the Prime Minister says, as far as India's interest goes. And protecting India's interest is the highest priority the Prime Minister of India has given. And I think this is the first step, what the Prime Minister has said. And let us see what happens, because U.S. Situation is mercurial. Today they say something, tomorrow is going to be another day. We are positive that U.S. understands our position. This is not about ideological positioning. This is about pure trade, and each country will look after its own interests. And India is rightfully doing what it has to do.
Okay, Mr. Varakan, how is the government then balancing strategic autonomy with the risk of economic isolation from Western markets?
See, West is only one side of the globe. There's an entire market for India across other parts. And we will tap all resources to ensure that our products are available across the other part of the globe. So West is America, and there are other countries in Europe, there are other countries in Africa, and we have good relations with all of them. And Indian goods are priority for them, and they treat that with respect. So let's face it, India has a huge market available. And I think the U.S. consumer is going to face the music. Inflationary trends are seen in U.S. So I think there's a damage being done to the consumer in U.S. So when realization dawns, I think things will change.
As we will tap all resources to ensure that Indian products are available across the world. But Mr. Varakan, if global oil prices spike due to India's position, are Indian consumers and farmers eventually going to bear the cost?
See, essentially we will source our oil from the best available prices. It is not just Russia, it could be other countries too.
Okay.
But then we will ensure that the prices are under control, because we can tap our own oil. The reservoirs of oil have been discovered in various parts of the country. That is one option. Second is we have availability of oil in different parts of the globe, and we will get the best price. And I think that should not affect our oil situation and the price, which will be available for the farmers. And I'm not worried on that count, because we see this as an opportunity to search the globe and get the best available oil. So we are not going to be, victims of the American policy. American policy has been mercurial. They are hitting their own consumers. So be it. We will, and we as a country are strong enough to get our best price from any country where there is surplus of oil.
Right. So then, Mr. Varakan, are you confident in saying that India is prepared for a prolonged trade standoff with the United States, especially if sanctions or tariff hikes escalate?
See, when the consumer in U.S. is hit, there will have to be a rethink in U.S. administration. So we believe that this is not going to be a long-drawn battle. When the realization dawns, and then the U.S. administration will have a rethink. So I don't think it's a long affair. The inflationary conditions that are prevailing in U.S. is extraordinary. Despite all the good news that the head of state is delivering, I think reality is, unless you have deep pockets, living in the U.S. is becoming intolerable, because the price rise is extraordinary, and the entire issue is about the U.S. consumer who is paying the price for this tariff war.
Right, before we let you go, Mr. Varakan, are we witnessing the end of India's post-2000 honeymoon with the United States and the beginning of a new realism in bilateral ties? What's your take?
Well, honeymoons are all supposed to be it's not a long process. the reality dawns. The ground reality differs. Ideological issues differ. And then the practical issues are economy. And when there is a tariff issue, we will face the music as it comes, and then our orchestra will play. And that tune may not suit the others. But yes, our orchestra will play, and the play will be echoed across the globe.
Right. Mr. Varakan, thank you so much for joining us with your views, clarifying certain crucial points for us. We'll, of course, revert to you for regular updates. But as Donald Trump signals secondary sanctions after hitting India with 50% tariffs, Prime Minister Modi has made it clear that farmers remain his priority, and he has said he is ready to pay the price personally. Just listen in to the Prime Minister's latest remarks.
साथियों, हमारे लिए अपने किसानों का हित सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता है। भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ कभी भी समझौता नहीं करेगा। और मैं जानता हूं व्यक्तिगत रूप से मुझे बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए तैयार हूं। मेरे देश के किसानों के लिए, मेरे देश के मछुआरों के लिए, मेरे देश के पशुपालकों के लिए आज भारत तैयार है।